I had the benefit of having some really great leaders that I worked for within the Department of Defense, some really bad ones too. But from the good ones, you find those servant leaders are the ones that make a difference, and you find them to be the best. Personally, as the president of the company, I try to model that. I want to be a servant leader to my teammates and to our customers. It's just, I think that's a highly functioning environments or teams work with best with servant leaders.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Empowering Design show, where we talk all things design and business with a focus on leadership. Today with me will be some of my good friends, Lori Roy and Tracy Conkin from DNS Plants Unlimited. We'll learn how they got into the design business, what their leadership style is like, and what biophilic design is, and some of the trends that they see while incorporating nature within interior or exterior environments. Well, thank you, Lori and Tracy, for joining me on Empowering Design. Let's start out by introducing yourselves. I guess we'll start with you, Lori.
My name is Lori Roy, and I'm the Seasonal and Hospitality Design Manager here at DNS Plants Unlimited. And I have a 20-year hospitality purchasing and design experience. And during this past season of life, I made the transition, met Tracy in February and came on board. I'm super excited to utilize my creativity, my design skills, my procurement skills as I transition to biophilic design.
You want to explain what biophilic design is?
Sure. Biophilic design is the process of bringing the outdoors inside, utilizing through either it's live plants or live plant walls or moss walls, just creating an environment of, being indoors, typically in an office space, and just kind of feeling like you're outside.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I've actually gotten to love nature a lot more so as I've gotten older.
I think a lot of people have.
So how about you, Tracy? How did you get into the industry?
Hi, my name is Tracy Conkin. I have been involved in the industry sort of on and off since 1985 as my dad, Clarence Conkin, and his business partner, Frank Woodall, initially bought this company back in 1985. It had only been around a couple of years at that time. So I've seen it since a very young age, but early in my career, I did sales and marketing and competitive intelligence for about 10 years. Then I did a pivot to chapter 2, career 2 in military. And I worked for the Department of Defense as a civilian for that 15 years. As my dad was getting to retirement age, and I was getting close to becoming an empty nester. I was living in DC and wanted to move back home for a lot of reasons, which is here in Atlanta. We started making that shift or transition or plans to allow him to retire, still retain ownership of the company, and me to come in as president and run things day to day. So I'm very excited. It's been such a blessing and such a tremendous challenge in a very good way. I've loved it. So that's kind of how I got into this, is taking over and transitioning us and pivoting us in a new direction.
Oh, wow. So what is that, I guess, the new direction look for you all, especially with the pandemic the last year, I guess?
For us, I think it's right sizing our staff, bringing in the right people with the right skill sets. It's making adjustments on the design side to meet the current trends, I think, in biophilic design or interior plantscaping, and to really use this time during the pandemic to reinvent ourselves, get the right people, focus on training, focus on our own personal growth and development so that we can then bring that out to our customers and be the best that we can be.
Tell me a little bit about DNS Plants, I guess. You kind of explained that it got started in 85 and then you took it over how many years ago?
2. It's been almost 2
Okay.
years, coming up on 2 years. So that's kind of the history. You know, it's we service Metro Atlanta, which, as you know, Atlanta is huge. So
Yeah.
it's as far north as Gainesville, coming far south, Peachtree City, Stockbridge, out
Okay.
to past Stone Mountain, and then go out to the west side, Austell, and Douglas County. Um, um, I mean, it's been interior plantscaping. It's been our focus, which is providing plants, live plants, blooming flowers, plant walls to Class A commercial spaces. We're industry agnostic, industry agnostic. It doesn't really
Okay.
matter what industry you're in. If you know plants, there's tremendous benefit to having plants in your environment.
But what is like your ideal target market? I guess within commercial.
Property managers, you know, commercial property managers, health care facilities, nursing homes, any space that has, you know, kind of Class A office space, tenants within of those buildings, office managers, anybody that is interested in bringing or incorporating plants or biophilic design into their space to enhance it, is sort of a target for us. And Lori probably has some ideas or thoughts that she can add to that. This is probably be more articulate than I am.
Right. So to add a few more titles to that box there, we architects, you know, if we can start the process in the early phases when the building's still in the planning phase.
Yeah,
we-
it's always
you know, if
best
we can-
time.
Exactly, right. So we can work with the architects and the designers on the early stages to just kind of get the engineer side of the building straight. So plant walls, a lot of plants and spaces now. So specifiers of any sorts, purchasing agents, owners, developers, like Tracy said, property managers on the commercial real estate side, GMs, they're important too. Great contacts for us.
Yeah, I'm actually looking to work hopefully for a general contracting firm in Alpharetta. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, the other thing I would add to that is commercial interior designers and decorators. We work with them to help them as they're laying out the colors in the space. Where can we incorporate plants into those environments as they're doing the design?
What professional industry affiliations and organizations do you guys belong to?
So we're members of the CREW Atlanta organization, which is Commercial Women in Real Estate, the Atlanta chapter, NEWH Atlanta, so hospitality women in the industry here in Atlanta. We are GHLA, Georgia Hospitality and Lodging Association. We are members of BOMA, and we are also, which is really cool here on the hospitality side, members of Green Plants, Green Buildings, which is LEED certified. It's a division of LEED.
Yeah.
And then the National Interior Escape Network. And Tracy can talk a little bit more about that.
So the National Interior Escape Network is sort of an umbrella organization for interior plantscape companies all over the country. They are a tremendous resource for us for education materials, planning, professional development, networking. They are an advocate for green space and the green plants and for green buildings and biophilic design. So they provide a lot of materials to us that we can then, you know, put out and share as well to our customer base. A lot of educational stuff. Of course, the green plants for green buildings, again, is the same. It's a much broader, it incorporates any element that's interested in biophilic design and in advocating for green buildings and elements that go into that. So they're a tremendous resource for us as well.
So what is the culture like at DNS Plants?
I can touch on that. So, I mean, as I've said, we are a small family-owned business, and love that about us. We have a team of 8 people. We have service technicians, a warehouse staff, and installation, sales, service manager. Of course, we have Lori on the holiday and seasonal decor management side, and myself, and that's really it. I think the benefit to that is it allows us to be really flexible because we are small. We can communicate and we're able to adjust on the fly to really because our main focus is on our customers and providing them the service that they need in these very nice spaces. So when you personally, when I hire somebody and an employee comes in, they become part of our family, and we sort of expand that to our clients and our customers. Is when you are a client of DNS Plants Unlimited, you are part of our extended family, and we treat you as such, so that you will have a great experience.
Well, touching on the service and wanting to serve, so what fuels your leadership passion? I know you said service, but can we elaborate, I guess, a little bit on that?
Sure. I think, again, I think that was a big driver for me in joining the military and continuing that service. So I was a reservist and I was activated and spent 2007 deployed to Anbar province in Iraq. But coming back, so I was able to do my federal government service concurrently with my reserve service. But I've always been drawn to that, which is why it's important. And even though this is a completely different industry, it's that desire to serve my team as a leader. It's really important that I enable my team for them to be successful and to serve our clients. And that's, as a company, it's that service. That's kind of our foundation, and what we stand on is providing great service. So I think that has to start from the top down. And I see that when we hire people, we look for people who want to serve each other as teammates and serve our clients.
It's always a top-down approach. Your leadership wants to serve, then you'll have a healthy team.
I had the benefit of having some really great leaders that I worked for within the Department of Defense, some really bad ones too, but from the good ones, you find those servant leaders are the ones that make a difference, and you find them to be the best. Personally, as the president of the company, I try to model that. I want to be a servant leader to my teammates and to our customers. It's just, I think that's a highly functioning environments or teams work with servant leaders.
So Lori, answering the same question, what fuels your leadership passion?
Right. So as Tracy mentioned, Tracy's that servant leader. And I can speak for the sales team in particular that Rita and I both come from being, we're an entrepreneur background. We both owned our own business. And one of my favorite things about working for Tracy and being part of the DNS team is that we get to have fun, first of all. Yeah. I mean, hospitality and the seasonal and holiday is my arena. How fun is that? There's my Christmas tree, right? My little tiny Christmas tree at my desk, and a wedding back here. So anyways, so we get to have fun, we get the freedom, and then we get to be creative. And we also get to input, like provide, experience and input into what Tracy does. And like she said, we reinvented the company this past year, and we took advantage of the time. And so we've, enhanced our website and any sort of like social media aspect. We've actually been able to contribute to that, which is super fun. So we get to bring our entrepreneurial interests and skills.
But moving on, what are some of the trends that I guess both of you are seeing as far as incorporating nature, whether that's interior, exterior environments, or all the above, I guess?
We've seen things going from, say, the 1980s, 1990s, where you had office space that was very kind of ornate and I think lobbies of buildings with the marble floors, the marble or tile, very formal, I think. And we're seeing a lot of properties go into renovation, and they're incorporating more clean designs, more natural elements, wood tones and wood, black iron, white, concrete, but just clean, simple lines. And I think that we are seeing plant design and biophilic design moving in that same direction. I think it's a great opportunity for biophilic design to enhance that with the touches of green and the touches of nature in these sort of more clean environment, clean looking environments, if that makes sense. So people are moving from, instead of having these ornate orchids and bromeliads and design bowls, they're moving towards moss art, wall art, or plants as focal points and as art, living walls, artificial walls, certainly the moss as well. So it's, I think there's a tremendous opportunity for us as a company to enhance space with these types of plant art or green art, if you will.
And I think, a lot of that, like Europe had that naturally, for I don't know how many years. And America kind of just shied away. Maybe there was some in the 1900s, but then, when the Industrial Revolution came around, it was like, oh, that doesn't really exist. And I think now we're kind of going back towards that, especially with the pandemic and everybody working from home and not so much in the office. Now everybody's like rethinking the office environment.
Right. Well, I was just going to say that I think what we're seeing now, we sort of saw things sort of static, but I think people want their employees and tenants to come back into the building, of course, in a safe manner. But I think we have a tremendous opportunity to educate on the benefits of plants, that plants can help with that. There's a scientific benefits psychologically and physiologically to having plants in the space. So for us, I mean, not that, it's a great opportunity to educate and to teach people and to show them on paper the return of investment they can get from investing green within their space. Again, it's aesthetically beautiful to look at, but there are science behind those benefits and keeping people healthy and enhancing their psychological well-being. And all of that is tied together. I think we as human beings are tied to nature in our DNA. And this is a great way that we can bring it from the outside into sort of a build environment and help people get back to work in a safe manner and have them happy to be there.
Yeah. And I think we'll say a lot of investors and developers, it's one of those last things, kind of like the furniture is the last thing on their budget. They're like, well, we can just cut that. And they're not looking at the overall life cycle cost, I think, that it, and the life cycle return that it also gives.
Yeah, I'll be super nerdy and throw out one statistic that's from the University of Michigan study several years ago. They actually put numbers, and that I believe that it was for, if you put one plant per every 100 feet, your return on investment for, kind of a mid-level employee was about 330%. And that's reduced sick time and absence, increased productivity. When you're, when you're psychologically happy, you're more productive, you're less likely to call out sick. And that's a real number when you get down, when you're crunching those numbers, that's something that people can really get their hands around when you're talking specifics.
Oh yeah, because I mean, most business owners and developers and they don't think about those. They just like, it's in the budget. Let's get it done. Or it doesn't involve me. So let's cut it.
Or do we really need it? I mean, they're looking for cost savings, which I absolutely understand, but it's a short-term cost savings and it's a long-term investment in their people and in their overall health and well-being. And that's, I think, one of the challenges we have right now is educating people on that.
Yeah. I think as designers, that's the biggest challenge we have is the education part of, people.
Yes.
So Glory, you want to add to anything to that?
Yes, I did. Actually, thanks for noting that. So the Green Plants for Green Buildings organization is a part of the LEED group, LEED certification. And there is a possibility of doing CEU credits through that group, Lead the Way. So Tracy had mentioned those organizations earlier. Well, those are the groups that actually put together that information in those classes for folks in the design arena.
So what is one, and I guess we'll start with you, Tracy. What is one habit, trait, or mindset that you are currently working on right now?
Oh, goodness gracious. So this has been a big change going from in the Department of Defense, you're kind of you had a very important job and I loved what I did, small cog. Now I'm sort of, the big challenge is creating space for myself. It was easy in, my job. I had a set time and I couldn't take work home. So I didn't. It's a bigger challenge now. Running the company and with a very, very small team. I do admin, marketing, sales, supervisory, order, I'm a procurement, whatever you want to, I do everything. So I think I'm trying to make sure that I create space for myself and to have that downtime. And sometimes I have to force it. I want to keep doing, but working until 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night doesn't work either. So I have to be very deliberate in creating that space for myself.
And going back to the, being highly productive, it's not highly productive if you just keep going and going and going and you don't take interval or breaks every, so often to re-energize and regroup.
100%. And I've learned that lesson kind of the hard way and just I just have to stop.
How about you, Lori? What is one habit, trait, mindset are you working on right now?
Right. So that has been allowing the space to take a small piece of the FF&E process, which is biophilic design, plants, taking that and actually embracing it and learning how I can apply my knowledge, but what the clients are looking for, whether it's hospitality or commercial or, healthcare, and marry the two together. And so that's been somewhat of a challenge for me since this is a small aspect of FF&E, and yet it's kind of new for me.
Yeah. So where can everybody find you, whether that's on social media, your website, if they're looking to learn more about your company and biophilic design?
Right. So that's my information here to share. So on Instagram, we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then we have our website. So Instagram is so spelled out D&S Plants Unlimited is how you can find us on Instagram. Our website is www.d&splants.com. And then Facebook is D&S Plants Unlimited. And then, of course, you can always email us at info@d&splants.com. And then LinkedIn is D&S Plants Unlimited.com. Had to look at my notes.
Oh, you're good. Well, Tracy and Lori, thank you for joining me on Empowering Design. Just to recap, we've learned about D&S Plants, what biophilic design is, what your leadership style is like, and what trends you see as far as biophilic design and bringing nature, whether that's interiors or exterior environments. But before I go, I have, one last question for you. And I guess we'll start with you, Tracy. What advice do you have for aspiring leaders, whether they're looking to get into the biophilic design industry or just in general?
I think I'll stay more general just because that's been sort of my lifelong experience. I would say embrace failure. As crazy as that sounds, I mean, it's just there's nothing like recovering from a fail because you learn so much from it. And I think along with that too is take risks, calculated, of course, but and then at times when you have to embrace the suck. And I think that's more of a military term, but sometimes things don't go your way or they don't go well, and you embrace it and you move through it and you keep going.
How about you, Lori?
Yes, most definitely. I would say don't be afraid to be vulnerable and to try something new and to, add to who you are. And to do that, you have to jump out there and be willing to, like Tracy said, fail, pick yourself back up and keep moving and make it mean nothing about you. Like, it's not personal. Just keep moving.
Yep. If you're going to fail, do it spectacularly and get up and keep moving.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but they always the quote was "fail forward," and
That's
I
right.
always like to take that with me. Thank you all for watching Empowering Design, and if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. We'll see you in 2 weeks for our next episode of Empowering Design.